How about them Cowboys?
It's only one person that I've ever went against that I was like, man, this guy is unbeatable. It's a guy named Larry Allen.
Nice guy, but when he came on that field, Larry said he had a job to do, and his job was to go through you.
But who's the baddest dude that you ever played with or against? Like a guy who might have scared you a little bit, made you nervous.
He was on my team, Larry Allen. He wasn't human.
He is so strong. I mean, God
I got hit by him. I was blocking. And he ran through me.
That's a wall.
And like you say, G. Lloyd flew about 10 yards. I flew about 5.
That's a wall.
And I'm blocking.
My back would slip out of place every time I went up against Larry Allen.
When Larry Allen was 9 years old, his little brother was next to him while an older boy stood there with a knife.
When I was a young boy, my little brother got into a fight, and I went to protect him.
Every instinct screams at them to run, and nobody would have blamed them, but this kid didn't run.
I was protecting my little brother. The guy, he was a little older than me, he ended up stabbing.
He stepped in front of his little brother and was stabbed 12 times. His head and shoulders would be sliced, but for him, getting cut 12 times was better in his mind than stepping aside and letting his brother get hurt.
Never to back down from anybody.
But what his mother did right after it is the reason he became one of the most feared, physically dominant human beings the NFL has ever seen. That horrific moment didn't break him, but rather it made him.
And that's the reason why I'm here today.
And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how a boy who was stabbed 12 times protecting someone he loved turned into a straight up beast. Larry Allen is 6'3", 325 pounds, and what has never made sense about him is that a man his size ran a 40-yard dash in about 4.8 seconds, and he could put up 225 pounds on the bench press 43 times in a row. Nothing about him added up. If you ever followed the Cowboys in the 90s, you already know him, and you know the nickname too, because that boy who took 12 stab wounds grew up to be this man, and to truly grasp how good he was, I gotta break down the resume for you. 14 seasons, 11 Pro Bowls, 7-time All-Pro. He made the All-Decade team for the 1990s and then made it again for the 2000s. The NFL put him on its list of the 100 greatest players of all time, and he got a Super Bowl ring to prove it.
Say hi to my mom and dad, my wife.
But the numbers don't tell you what it was like to watch him. In the spring of 2001, Larry Allen bench pressed 700 pounds.
Never seen a guy bench press 705 pounds. I was there the day he did it. I would have never thought a guy could naturally lift that type of weight, man.
The strongest man.
700. His teammates mobbed him. Rocket Ismail dove over him in celebration because nobody had ever seen a football player do that. And he wasn't just strong, he was fast. His rookie year on Monday Night Football, this 325-pound lineman chased down a Saints linebacker for about 50 yards to save a touchdown. A man that size should not be able to do that. Oh, and in 14 years at the most physical position on the field, Larry Allen was called for holding a grand total of 13 times. That's not luck. That's a man so strong he never needed to cheat.
Larry would be pulling and just hit Grayler. He flew 15, 20 yards that way. I said, golly.
So that's the legend. But there's another side to Larry Allen that few people ever saw. Off the field, this was one of the quietest men in football. His own quarterback, Troy Aikman, remembered him as a gentle giant that loved his family. The president of the Hall of Fame, Jim Porter, put it just as plainly, saying off the field he was a quiet, gentle giant. And one of his old coaches, Frank Scalercio, didn't talk about the football at all. He said he would miss Larry's big smile and his hugs. That was Larry. Quiet, private, a man of few words who would rather hug you than say 10 of them. But the second he stepped between those white lines, that gentle giant became the most feared offensive lineman of his era.
Man, he'll grab you, pick you up, and start laughing.
That's the contradiction that runs through this whole story. The gentlest man in the building was also the most terrifying, and that's not a coincidence. It's the whole thing. But this story doesn't start in the weight room in Dallas. To understand the beast, you gotta go back to the beginning. And the beginning is in Compton, California. Larry Allen almost didn't make it out of infancy. At 6 weeks old, he nearly died of meningitis. He hadn't even learned to walk yet, and death was already knocking. And the neighborhood he was born into was not gonna get any better. This is South Central LA in the late 1980s, the crack era. Gang violence was not something that happened once in a while, it was in the air. There were nights his mother Vera would drop flat to the floor of their home because the gunfire outside was so close. And it got harder. His father, by one account, left the family when Larry was around 11, leaving Vera to raise those boys on her own. Now remember how we opened this, the stabbing, 12 wounds, him stepping in front of his little brother instead of running, and those wounds were really bad. Closing them took so much stitching that the needles left a fear the knife never did. Larry came out of it that day so scared of needles that years later, a grown man strong enough to bench press 700 pounds, he would sit in the dentist chair, turn down the Novocaine, and let them drill a cavity without it. One of the strongest human beings who ever lived, and it was the needle he never got over. That day is where the beast comes from. And here's why, because of what his mother did next. After her son got stabbed 12 times, Vera Allen did not wrap him in the bubble wrap. In his own words from his Hall of Fame speech, she told him, "I'm not raising any punks." And then about 3 months later, she made him go back.
3 months later, my mother said, "I'm not raising any punks." So she made me fight this guy She said, "You will fight him until you win."
She made him find that older kid and fight him, not to be reckless, but to learn that you do not back down, you do not run.
First day I lost, second day I lost. The third day I finally won. That was one of the most valuable lessons I learned in my life. Never to back down from anybody.
The way Larry told it on that stage in Canton, first day I lost, second day I lost, the third day I finally won. Think about what that does to a kid. That's not a lesson you forget. It gets built into your bones. You take the hit, you get up, you go back, and you keep going back until you win. That is the engine that would one day bench 700 pounds and never quit on a play. But now let's talk about the person who held all of this together. Larry Allen is a great story, but Vera Allen is the reason there's a story at all. Vera was in a war for her son's future, and the street was the enemy, so she kept moving him. By one count, 12 times in 8 years. 4 different high schools. Every time the gangs got close, she pulled them out and started over. There's one detail that tells you everything about her, though. When Larry was away and called home hungry, flat broke, nothing to eat, Vera sent him her last $28 by Western Union. Her last. She sent him everything she had. And Larry knew what she was fighting for. In his own words, "I didn't want to be a gangbanger or a drug dealer. I wanted to do something for myself." But here's the thing though, football wasn't even the plan. Basketball was his sport growing up. He barely played organized football until his junior year of high school, leaning into the game around 16 years old. But the odds were stacked against him. His grades were poor. By multiple accounts, he never got a high school diploma, and that left him short of Division I eligibility. That closed the door on a path to the pros. But here's the thing about Larry. He didn't just let it sit. He went back to adult school and earned his GED. Same lesson his mother taught him in that fight. You don't quit and you finish what you started. So picture him at 19 years old, back in Compton, no college recruiting him. By his own account, he couldn't even get a job at McDonald's. And every single day, he lifted whatever weights he could to get his hands on to get stronger and better and more powerful, even when nobody was watching.
I have never been dominated like that before in my life. So I got in that weight room and became the strongest man in the NFL.
Except somebody did come. An assistant coach from tiny Sonoma State, Frank Scalercio, spotted Larry at a junior college and couldn't believe his eyes. But this was before cell phones and nobody could find the kid. So he sent a student to the basketball courts in Compton to track him down. That's how close this came to never happening. Larry went to Sonoma State, a Division II school, and became a 2-time All-American, the first player in that school's history to ever get drafted. But the doubt followed him. On draft day 1994, the teams looked at the small school competition and got scared.
From a small school.
Small school guy.
He fell out of the first round. He was the 10th offensive lineman taken, 46th overall. 9 linemen went before the strongest man any of them would ever see. Then the phone rang and it was Jerry Jones. And he said,
"Son, would you like to be a Cowboy?" I said, "Yes, sir." Ran out my apartment, jumped in the swimming pool with all my clothes on.
And just like that, the kid from Compton was a Dallas Cowboy. Now here's where it all comes full circle. Larry Allen played guard, and do you know what a guard's whole job is? It's protection. Putting your own body between the danger and the man you're protecting. For 14 years, that was his literal job. The kid who wouldn't leave his little brother grew up and got paid to do that exact thing every Sunday for over a decade. The quarterbacks of the Dallas Cowboys spent their careers hiding behind the same instinct that got a boy stabbed 12 times at Compton. That's not a metaphor I'm reaching for. Protection was never a job to Larry Allen. It was in him before he even put pads on. And he did it with no drama, no arrests, no mess, just respect from everyone who played with him. But I'm not going to sell you a clean ending because it isn't one. But Larry made it, and he made real money, and one of the first things he did was buy his mother a house, the one gift he was ever able to give her. After everything she poured into him, he handed her a home, and then she was gone. Vera passed away around 2012, about a year before Larry got the call to the Hall of Fame. He was voted in on the first ballot February 2nd, 2013. Jerry Jones presented it to him. But the woman who moved 12 times to save him, who told him I'm not raising any punks and made him go back and fight until he won, she didn't live to watch him walk into Canton. Larry used to talk about her calming phone calls before games. Standing on that stage, he talked about missing those calls and said that she was looking down on him. She got to see almost all of it, the ring, the Pro Bowls, the house he bought her, but not the last step, not the gold jacket. So how does a kid who got stabbed 12 times come out stronger instead of broken? It was never really the knife. It was the boy who refused to run and the mother who refused to let him quit. And in Dallas, that refusal became a legend. Larry Allen was the wall. For 12 seasons, he anchored that offensive line, and the man running behind him, Emmitt Smith, ran his way to becoming the all-time leading rusher in NFL history. Every record Emmitt set, he set followed blocks from number 73. The Cowboys put him in their ring of honor and called him maybe the best offensive lineman the league has ever seen. That 700-pound bench press is still talked about in the halls of that building to this very day. He was the gentle giant, Vera's boy, the kid from Compton who made it all the way out. But like I told you earlier, this story does not get a clean, happy ending, and I'd be doing you wrong if I pretended it did. On Sunday, June 2nd, 2024, Larry Allen passed away suddenly while on vacation in Mexico. He was just 52 years old. It came without warning, and the family never made public what took him. One day he was here, one of the strongest men who ever lived, and the next day he was gone far too soon. But here's the part that matters. When Larry passed, he wasn't alone in the weight room or out on some field. He was on a family vacation surrounded by the people he spent his entire life protecting. His wife, Janelle, the woman he called his heart and soul, his kids, the same children he was raising to have the everyday father he himself almost lost. The boy who once took 12 stab wounds for his family spent his final days with his family right there beside him. His old teammate, Emmitt Smith, said it well as anybody could.
He had a big heart. And he lived life to the fullest.
He said Larry had a big heart and he lived life to the fullest. That's the whole man in one sentence. A beast on the field, a gentle giant off it, and a heart big enough to carry both. He got his mother out of the gunfire. He built the family he always wanted, the one he never had as a kid, and he earned a place in Canton that nobody can ever take away. So the next time you see those old highlights, the 700-pound bench, the 325-pound man running down the linebacker, look past the beast for a second and remember the kid underneath it. The one who refused to run. Larry Allen, number 73, the gentle giant. A Dallas Cowboys forever. LA, you will be missed, but never forgotten. Thank you. If you enjoyed this one, please like and subscribe. And with that, I'm out. Peace.